The U.S. blacklists Chinese companies involved in the balloon program. Let's dive into the details, shall we? The U.S. blacklisted 6 Chinese companies Friday that it said were involved in Beijing's surveillance balloon program, and a move taken in retaliation for the suspected spy balloon that traversed the U.S. The addition of the government-owned defense firms and contractors to the Commerce Department's roster of blacklisted firms follows pledges by the Biden administration officials to further restrict Western technology China could use to advance its military and economic might. The companies blacklisted were Beijing Nurjiang Aerospace Technologies Co., Limited, Chinese Electronics Technology Group Corporation, blah, blah, blah. We probably don't know who these are, but yeah, they have 6 companies involved in this. Crazy. The Commerce Department's Bureau of Industry and Security said the Chinese entities were added to their support for the People's Liberation Army aerospace programs, including airships and balloons and related materials and components. The PLA is utilizing high-altitude balloons, HAB, for intelligence and reconnaissance activities, it said. Companies and others added to the Commerce Department's so-called entity list are believed to represent a national security threat. U.S. companies are barred from supplying the entities on the list, although special exemptions are sometimes granted. A U.S. jet fighter shot down the Chinese balloon off the Atlantic coast on February 4th, and afterward officials said it carried antennas and sensors for collecting intelligence and communications. The discovery of the balloon days earlier led Secretary of State Anthony Blinken to cancel a planned trip to Beijing aimed at easing the acrimony in the nation's relationship. On Friday afternoon, U.S. officials said a military jet fighter shot down an object spotted at high altitudes in Alaskan airspace. The object was roughly the size of a car, the White House said. Yeah, that's crazy. The reason why they did that this time, I guess, was because it was in 40,000 feet. So it was in, commercial flight travel. So it was super dangerous. So they shot it down. Anyway, let's continue. China has said the balloon shot down last week was used for research, mainly meteorological purposes, and had blown off course, yada, yada, yada. The new companies added to the list join more than 600 Chinese government-linked entities and companies targeted by the U.S. with a range of sanctions, part of a much broader review by Washington of trade and financial ties with China over growing national security fears. The Biden administration last year slapped export controls on advanced chip manufacturing equipment to China, and the Trump administration before that cut off China's Huawei Technology Co. from many of its U.S. suppliers. Many national security analysts have been sounding the alarm about China's surveillance practices in recent years, but the balloon offered the American public a visible picture of the Chinese threat as it crossed much of the nation. It certainly adds fuel to the fire, bolstering the case of China hawks, said Martine Rasser, a former senior Central Intelligence Agency officer now at the Center for New American Security, a Washington-based think tank. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre told reporters Thursday, in addition to taking action against Chinese entities involved in the balloon program, the U.S. would look at broader efforts to address Chinese surveillance activities that pose a threat to our national security and to our allies and partners as well. The newly formed House Select Committee on the Strategic competition between the U.S. and Chinese Communist Party is also likely to press for tougher U.S. measures to slow China's advance, said Emily Benson, a senior fellow at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. This is really a concrete example of an issue that Washington has so far not succeeded in penetrating the American public's mind, Ms. Benson said. This could be the kind of pivotal moment for the American psyche to really start to realize that China is important and that this is a policy area they should be tuning into. Members of Congress will feel growing pressure to take more hard-line stance, she said, and that could in turn pressure the White House to pursue tougher policies. The U.S., along with key allies, should consider a new method for multilateral controls in targeted technology areas. Richard Ashew, a former assistant Secretary of Commerce for Export Administration, told the White House Financial Services Committee on Tuesday. The administration also has been developing an outbound investment screening program that would vet U.S. investment overseas for potential national security threats from China. Analysts say the White House could face calls to roll it out more quickly than originally planned. U.S. officials said they have briefed more than 36 governments on the balloon incident and that international coordination is critical to responding to China as a threat. Tom Tugendhat, the UK security minister who met with U.S. counterparts Wednesday, said as Western allies consider expanding their export control policies, all international trade with China must be viewed through a national security lens. Man, China really messed up by doing this. The reality is that the way in which the Chinese state is structured poses challenges to all, he said in an interview Wednesday, pointing to the Communist Party's control over every major industry and laws that require all companies to cooperate with the government's intelligence services. We've got to realize that this is a whole of government effort, Mr. Tugendhat said, with trade examined by the risk of Chinese future exploitation, either for monopoly power or, in some cases, for intelligence collection. China messed up. They should not have done this. This is already a huge thing. It's crazy when they were going to go do they were going to go and try to, ease tensions. And now this is what they do. I just don't even get it. I've said this many times in other videos. I don't get what they were thinking. I don't get it at all. And now it's just getting worse, like for national security and everything. They're getting their companies cut off. And now every single thing is being scrutinized by the U.S. government and the U.S. And allies in the United States. So, yeah, not a good idea. I don't even know what they wanted this stuff for. Like comms for the military. It's like, who cares? Just chill out, China. They always want to invade Taiwan or something or just expand their power. Why don't they just keep what they have and just keep going in that way? Why do they have to do surveillance and all this crazy stuff? I don't understand it. But let me know, what do you think? Do you have an idea of what they were thinking? Do you have any theories? I'd definitely love to hear that and any other opinions you have in the comments below. Also, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel for daily news updates, hit that notification bell, and share this video to help spread the news. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.